Hello, my name is Kendall Jenkins, and today I'm going to be talking about some of the works that are a part of Meant to Be Looked At, an exhibition being held at the UMW Convergence Gallery at the University of Mary Washington. Before we discuss Sutton's two paintings, it's important to understand the influence that famous artist and teacher Hans Hofmann had in Margaret Sutton's career at this time. Hofmann was famous for his use of striking colors, shapes, and textures to create what is known as the push and pull method to his paintings. Hofmann believed that by using those elements an artist can guide a viewer through a painting and master the two-dimensional space available on a canvas. The untitled work shown here is a great example of how Hofmann employs his method. Through his use of contrasting colors on the right, he pulls the viewer into focusing on the explosion of colors and shapes that break through the center of this work, that in turn pushes the viewer's gaze out towards the left side of the canvas, which features a mix-up of the same contrasting colors found on the right, as well as related shapes and shades that are found within the center of the painting. This untitled painting, deemed Woman on the Subway, was originally painted in 1942 and is a perfect example of how Sutton combined the techniques that she learned while studying under Hans Hofmann in the late 1930s, such as his push and pull method, and combined it with the various cubist and surrealist elements that were popularized in the late 1930s and into the 40s. Depicted is a woman sitting inside a subway car that appears to be en route to an unknown destination. Sutton uses Hoffman's method in various portions of the background, such as the windows, that gives the illusion of movement by using a yellow light to pierce through the various tones of blue darkness. But the centerpiece of this work, the woman herself, is the most fascinating aspect. The woman is crafted with bold, curving lines that are carefully colored and coordinated to contain the chaotic assembly of various contrasting warm and cooler colors that make up most of her clothing. The warmer colors also work with the pinks and the browns to add a uniqueness to her humanity. Another important part to note is the checker pattern that is on the woman's shirt as well as on her skirt. This pattern is used often in Sutton's other works and is also uses Hoffman's method to encourage the viewer to study every aspect of the woman. Sutton was also often inspired by the paintings that she saw at the Museum of Modern Art. Painting titled Two Girls Reading was done by Pablo Picasso in 1934 and was part of his exhibition at the Museum of Modern Art from November 11th of 1939 to January 7th of 1940, and may have been one of the many works that Sutton encountered when making these two paintings. Sutton could have been inspired by the bold line work that we can see throughout the background of this piece, as well as in the various facial expressions of the two women. More specifically, the facial structure of the woman on the left. As we can see, she uses a very similar nose shape as well as similar sunken eyes on the woman on the subway. If you also notice, in the woman to the right, Picasso uses a variety of contrasting bold colors to make up the majority of her bodily features, as well as the clothing that she's wearing, which incorporates various flower patterns that Sutton may have used in her paintings as well. The other painting in Sutton's series has been given the title Woman Knitting and is assumed to be painted in the same year of 1942. Sutton paints a woman knitting on a bench of a subway station with a cylindrical bag to her right, as well as a purse on the bench to her left. Her work emphasizes the use of shading as well as carefully layered watercolor to provide an idea of depth and liminality to her environment, which not only gives focus to the lady in the center of the painting, but also provides a sense of familiarity that is obstructed by the abstracted figure's presence. If you look at the various background elements of the painting, such as the bench and the bag to her right, you'll notice a series of X's, dots, and dashes. This was done to provide a sense of texture to these elements while also being a very common trait in many of Sutton's other works. You will also notice the implementation of Hoffman's push and pull theory of painting by using the neutral color of the background. Sutton draws attention to the woman's bags, which are made up of the same colors as the woman's face and the leg, guiding the viewer back to the center of the painting. In comparison with her commuting counterpart, instead of using bold lines to separate the segments of the woman, Sutton instead opted to let the colors clash into one another to create shapes and form from her focused content expression to the dark and cool colors of her dress clashing against the vibrant project that she is knitting. Famous Cubist Roger de la Fresnay's painting "The Conquest of Air" could have been another source of inspiration for the woman knitting. This oil painting was exhibited at the Museum of Modern Art at the Art of Our Time exhibition from May 10th to September 30th, 1939. The sky of the painting exhibits many of the similar shading techniques that Sutton used, and the two figures captured the idea of using clashing colors to create form that's paired well with odd geometric features and the similar dreamlike atmosphere that's common with Cubism and Surrealism, and provides a nice sense of abstraction that Sutton would take to a further level in her two groundbreaking works.